What's up, YouTube? It is Monday, November 14th, I believe, 2016, and it's time to go to work on music. And this is more than likely the first, if not one of the first, vlogs on the channel that I'm going to make public. So I should introduce myself. My name's Isaac, and I have a very important to myself musical project called Eons or Aeons. I'm kind of trying to decide what I should call it because there's some confusion around it, but I'll probably go with Aeons for the near future. And I wanted to share a little bit of the process that I go through on a day-to-day basis preparing this music for people. And there are a lot of different reasons that I wanted to do this, and I even made a video a while back about some of the reasons I'm doing the vlogging. I've been experimenting with vlogging my practice routines for a few months on and off, and I really want to commit to it. This is just completely off the top of my head, but one reason is just, honestly, it's great for my own development to just externalize my ideas and articulate them to the camera. The other thing is I'm really interested in sharing what knowledge I have about the creative process, and if there's even one person or just one moment I can inspire one person with what I'm doing with my process, I'm doing it anyway every day, so I might as well document it, both for my own history and my own knowledge and learning, coming back to things that I was doing months ago or years ago, seeing my own progress, but also just for the world to understand that real artistry and real creative endeavors do not happen overnight, and this is going to be all about documenting that step-by-step process. And frankly, I wish I had been documenting it for the last 12 years that I've been working on this, but better late than never. So welcome to the channel. I'm really excited that you're checking this out, and more than likely these videos are going to be of a hopefully reasonable quality, but not, it's not going to be crazy high production quality for the near future as far as I can see. I just want to get the ball rolling and get in the habit of doing this and uploading everything myself. Eventually I would love to have them be really dynamic and high quality vlogs. I certainly want to work toward that, but I'm also a big believer in starting small, but just starting now, so that's what I'm doing. And I don't want to talk too much at the beginning of this vlog, but I wanted to introduce myself and maybe explain a little bit of what I'm doing. So I'll take you along for my practice routine today, and hopefully it's going to be awesome. It is going to be a shorter routine today. I usually practice about 4 hours, and today I've got about an hour because I had a friend in town who I haven't seen in many years, and sometimes we're prioritizing music in our work, and sometimes we're prioritizing other things, and there's a time and a place for both. So I hope you're excited to follow along the journey with me. I'm certainly excited to share, and I really hope you learn something and get some value out of it, even if it's just pure entertainment. But hopefully it's a little bit more than that. Here we go. Okay, so one thing I've been doing in my practice recently as a warm-up and just a way to jog my routine and get in the groove and also expand my knowledge over time is taking some online classes, specifically on Coursera, and I'm almost at the end of this class called Learning How to Learn, which has been really, really good. It's free, which is amazing that we live in an era where technology can bring us free information of very high quality, and it's all about getting your learning game up. So just practices that work, how your brain works, study habits, study skills, how to digest complex processes better, more efficiently. And I've been thinking about how incredibly applicable that knowledge is, being able to learn better, learn faster, learn more effectively. Obviously, it's extremely important as a musician and as an artist. But pretty much in any career, if you're really passionate about getting better, then learning is going to be a part of your life probably forever. So I'd really recommend it. It's been awesome. I've been taking it in like maybe 5 to 15, maybe even sometimes 30-minute windows, just very slowly, just piecing at it, chipping away at it a little bit at a time. And it just really adds up. A little bit of effort over a long period of time really, really adds up. And what I was just working on now, which I'll share, is, one of the instructors was talking about, like, obviously you want to prepare as much as possible for tests and exams, but sometimes you prepare and things just don't go your way. But if you find a process that works and you really prepare intelligently and you're strategic about your preparation and about your execution of your strategy, then you'll find that luck is on your side more and more and more, which is very encouraging because I know for me as a musician and artist, I face a lot of fear about what I'm doing, especially when I'm trying something new or just trying to break new boundaries, whether it be in my practice routine or in my actual music that I release. And it's so important to experiment and to give yourself that opportunity, because without knowing what doesn't work, how can you be confident that what you're doing is the optimal approach? I mean, you have to experiment to figure that out. So it's good to have some information and some knowledge behind that courage, not just a blind courage, although there is a time and a place for that, of course. And the other thing I was just practicing, which you probably saw that might have looked a little funny, is just a breathing exercise they were talking about building into your test taking routine. So doing it right before the exam is handed out, and also just practicing it in the weeks during your study routine leading up to the test. I think about testing and performance sort of along the same lines. And there's at least a lot of analogies between those things. And basically, it's a really simple exercise. You just put your hand on your stomach, diaphragm area, like right there, and just breathe into your belly. It's fine if your chest expands, and then slowly breathe out. And I was just doing that for about 90 seconds and just recording my observations. It definitely has a very calming influence. As far as I know, what I know about the body, then that basically stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is like the relax and digest sort of part, which kind of combats that fight or flight response that can often take over in stressful situations like tests, performances, exams, etc., where the cortisol and hormones that are created in your brain and neurotransmitters that are released in your brain can actually inhibit your performance if you're not careful. If you're too stressed, then it can actually make you worse. But another interesting idea they were bringing up in the class, not to go on too much about this, is that a lot of how that chemical process in your brain and body affects your performance is how you frame it, like what your perspective on that sensation of nervousness is. And if you make that nervousness mean, oh, here comes the test, I'm not going to do well, then that can hurt your performance, versus if you just see like, oh, this is my body getting excited to do my best that I possibly can on this test, then that actually can really increase your performance, which is crazy. That's like some alchemy of the mind type next level cosmic stuff, man, right? Uh, Obviously, I'm being a little sarcastic in expressing it that way, but anyway, that's what's on my mind right now. I'm also taking a music business class, and so I'm going to get into some of that stuff right now, and I'm still evaluating the quality of that personally, so I'll let you guys know when I'm done with it what I think of that, but you guys will see me working on this pretty much every day going forward, so here we go. Alright, definitely would have liked to have spent a little bit more time on that today, but just want to move things along given that it's a bit of a compressed session. What I was just learning about here, I'm working on just defining my genre really clearly, and the instructor is just talking about how it's fine to have your niche change over time, particularly if you're within the same umbrella genre, or I'm thinking like you could change umbrella genres, like you could change from rock to make like a country tune, but you might want to label it a different project, like entrepreneurs start different businesses in different markets, different industries, and it might all be controlled by one umbrella situation, but they're like different businesses doing different things, maybe even different models. So it's always freeing to realize that from a business perspective as an artist, you have flexibility and you can create things the way that you want to create them, because for me personally, I mean, that's why I got into art and music in the first place, was just self-expression, and I don't want to put myself in a bottle. I want to use that process to know myself even better every single day. So, and that may change over time, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is move on to a little bit of guitar practice. I'm just going to warm up, maybe work on a couple simple things, and then start to wrap up the session. Cool, so good warm up. What I typically do to warm up, and I'll probably make more videos on this specifically in the future, but what I typically do is just play some music, pick something that I'm comfortable with, like a scale or a mode, and just use a pedal tone to just get the creativity flowing, get the storytelling flowing, get some blood in the hands, and just kind of warm up on the instrument. Then I maybe do a little bit of chord relay exercises, just running through some chords, kind of get the best of both worlds. And then I usually move into a more focused practice mode, which I'll do right now. Again, this is going to be much more compressed than I usually would do it. And tomorrow I ought to have quite a bit more time, so I'll be able to go in a bit more depth. But today I'm not 100%. I'll probably work on some chord shapes. That's what I've been working on recently, is just peer review, because I've been taking most of my music time and focusing on production because I have a show coming up soon. So I'm trying to do all new material, which is definitely a big endeavor, writing a lot of new material quickly and then learning how to play it quickly. So I've been dialing back my instrumental focus a little more than I normally do, and I'll probably be able to go through this a little bit more briskly in the future. I just kind of getting everyone up to speed with what I'm doing, and I know it might be getting dark here, but I'm going to just get into a very short chord practice here, just working on some D string root chord inversions for major 7th chords, minor 7th chords, stuff like that, just so I don't forget. I was doing a lot of jazz work over the last maybe 12 months or something like that, and I don't want to lose any of my gains there. So here we go. Alright, always sad and a disappointment when I don't have as much time as I like to have to really dig deep on the music front. But today was a conscious choice to make a little bit of personal, I don't know if I'd call it sacrifice, but just make a concession on sort of my schedule recently. Recently I've been really locked into the zone, which has been amazing, and I don't want to mess up that rhythm, but I had a friend in town, I haven't seen him in a year. He comes around once a year, and just wanted to have a good experience and enjoy the moment and the conversation, and there is a balance. Sometimes our desires are in conflict with one another, and as long as you know your priorities and you stick to those, then you're probably fine in the long run, and like a few hours on one day is not going to compromise that's not going to make or break me. But of course, if I do that every day, then that's a problem. But I'll be back on tomorrow, and possibly a little more tonight, although I think I'm just going to call it a lighter day. So what I just did is a little bit of vocal practice, and that's usually what I do, is I do guitar and vocals one day, and then I work on drums the next day, and I alternate back and forth to get a little bit of spaced repetition in my learning and also interleave my knowledge, and I'll be talking a lot more about what that means in future videos. But for today, I'm coming up against my time benchmark, so I'm going to wrap things up. One thing I did want to say is I could have managed today better, even though I had a short amount of time. One big takeaway for me today from the session is just making sure that I sit down at the beginning of the session and map out how much time I want to spend on each individual thing. And it just helps me prioritize and make sure that I'm moving forward on the things that are important. And I've been pretty good about that recently. I made a mistake with that last week, made an adjustment, make the mistake again. So now I gotta remind myself how important that is, and sometimes we gotta mess things up 2 or 3 times before we really get it right, but I'm always looking to continually refine and hone my process, and I really do think that that's what gets you the great creative results over time. Lady luck favors the one who tries. So, with that being said, I'm just excited to be back in the groove with the vlogs. I'm looking forward to sharing a lot more. I'm looking forward to increasing the quality over time if that's warranted. And for the moment, I'll just try to be as honest and open with you guys as I possibly can and share as much as I possibly can every single day. And I just look forward to connecting with you guys out there if that's what you want, or just to sharing knowledge if that's what would be valuable. So if you're out there grinding on the music front, then salute to you, and keep doing what you're doing. Stay inspired, and everyone's afraid. It's just about being courageous and acting in the face of that fear and finding ways to manage that fear appropriately, and we'll talk more about that as we go forward. And for the rest of you who are hanging out, salute to you. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.